Majo John Madden in Brownsville, Texas. That's our neighbor dog who came to visit this morning. Stray dog, I think. He might live around here somewhere, but I don't think he's got tags or anything. I think he's a stray. And my friend, my dog Magic, has made friends with this dog over many months. They've encountered each other here several times. And we've parked here a lot over 9 months. We parked in the parking lot. I rode out a terrible case of the flu back in maybe September. One day I spent right in that corner of the parking lot, and they let me stay overnight one night even because I was so sick. And Liliana, who used to manage this Stripes, was a good friend of ours and helped us out in a lot of ways. So we like this place. We're not crazy about big cities. We've been happier up on South Padre Island, but now we're getting close to hopefully crossing over into Mexico, and we're hanging out in Brownsville again. I want to talk a little bit about Latino people. Latino people, I've made a bunch of TikToks about how wonderful Latino people are. I made friends with, it's starting to blow more. Maybe I'll get in the van. We'll see. The Martin family lived with me for 6 months, long time ago, and changed my life. What spectacular people they were. And on the road, 3 years on the road, everywhere we go, Latino people are the ones who help. In the countryside outside of Louisville, Kentucky, I had a stroke and got taken by ambulance to the big university hospital. Leslie, we had met Leslie and her family. She was I think they were from Guatemala. They had given her an Anglo name, even though they were just second generation. And she was the only one who spoke English. She was like 14. They took my dog. It was a different dog back then. That was my dog Pancho, but they loved Pancho, and Leslie was great with dogs. And even though she was like 14, they took the dog for 24 hours till I could come back and claim her. Everywhere we go. In Chicago, I broke down on the northwest side of Chicago, and there was a Latino guy who pulled over and spent basically an hour with me. Had food, drinks, and got my car going again. 80 to 90, we travel on a Social Security check, so I run out of money regularly every month. And when I end up at a cash register short of money, it's a Latino person who pays for me. And when I break down, my old car needed jumps all the time. And this car for a while had battery problems. The world has grown a lot colder and people don't stop like they used to, but Latino people do. We spend a lot of time on beaches, and I've got a ball on the back of my car now for towing and a really great tow strap. But we've been towed out of the sand a lot of times, and I just predict it's going to be a Latino guy in a pickup truck, and 90% of the time it's that. So in that store today, I ended up short. I wanted to get coffee. I don't get my check for another 5 or 6 days, so I'm short of money, and didn't have the $1.50 for a cup of coffee. Rigo is a cashier there. Sweet young guy. Boy, I was talking to him about Charo days. Charo days. I've been hearing about those for a long time. I never thought I would be in Brownsville long enough to see them, but they're happening this weekend. And I asked him, he says, you ought to go. It's a lot of fun. He was so nice to talk to. And then my credit card didn't work for the coffee, and he bought it. What a guy. I was a cashier for a long time. My retirement jobs were, I was a cashier in a grocery store for 7 years. And I told him, that's what I would have done. That's totally what I would have done. I've paid $10 for people who didn't have the money. It's the way to be. It's the way to be, and it's the way Latino people are. The way they just are. That's their I taught diversity in corporations for a long time, and there is such a thing as data-based generalizations. It's a tendency of certain groups of people to behave certain ways. It's no good to stereotype. You don't want to stereotype and predict to the individual. You never know. There's lots of individual variation. There are women in corporations who are really tough, as opposed to the tendency to be nice. And Latinos always say to me, not every Latino is nice. Not every Latino is nice, and we know, of course, certainly that that's true. But the tendency. I said to Molly, who runs the visitor center here in Brownsville, how much I love Latino people. And she said of her race, she said, well, we just kind of love everybody. And that's my experience. That's my experience. So thank you, Latino people. I wrote an article, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, saying the title was Quiero ir Latino. I kind of want to be Latino. I've been playing Latino music in the van a lot lately, getting ready for going to Mexico. And we rolled in at a park in Harlingen the other day. And the old Latino guy spoke great English. He's obviously been here a long time. Said to me, wow, hearing your music when you rolled up, I thought it was going to be a Mexican. And I just honestly said to him, yeah, I kind of thought I was. I'll never be a true Mexican. And my Spanish sure needs a lot of work. But I picture spending the rest of my life there. I don't want to be anywhere else. The U.S. looks awfully sterile compared with the sweetness and the sensuality and the slow pace of Mexico. Even with all the dangers, all the risks, all the poverty, I'll have to address that. I'll have to do everything I can to help the poor people in Mexico. Everywhere you go, you have to do what you can to make it a better place. But I'll find ways to do that. Okay. From Brownsville, Rio Grande Valley, South Texas, right up against the Mexican border, where 70 to 90, a lot of it, 90% of the people are Latino. Brownsville, 90% Latino. Okay, bye.